everybody sees it in Africa as God's blessing.
Yes.
So if you've been married for a while and no kids, then it means you did something bad in your past.
On n'a pas le droit, je pense, de dire aux gens en Afrique qu'ils n'ont pas besoin d'enfants. Je trouve ça assez hypocrite, et surtout que nous, les Occidentaux, on va en masse dans les centres de filles.
A low-cost fertility treatment for Africa.
The first reaction was, I think, a typical reaction, like, you got to be kidding. I mean, you're talking about countries where you have malaria, HIV, and you want to do IVF?
This is the Walking Egg Project.
The main dream is to make infertility care affordable and accessible for a much larger part of the world population.
Africa, a continent that's always linked with overpopulation. Most African countries have high birth rates. In these countries, women want to have many children. And yet, even here, despite their desire to have a child, 1 in 10 couples remains childless. This is also the case with Esther. Not being able to have children is an enormous burden on her and her husband. Today, Esther is seeking help from a fertility clinic.
In our setting, if you get married, everybody is expecting children. So when you get married for a while and there are no kids, it's so bad. Even at your wedding, they'll tell you, oh, in 9 months' time, we'll be coming for your outdooring. And then years on, and then nothing is coming up. It's quite worrisome. It's very worrisome.
Hello once again, you're live on GBC 24. This is Women's Voice. My name is Selike.
Not being able to have children is a taboo subject in Africa. So in order to break through this taboo, the Ghanaian television channel recently broadcast programs on the subject. Today, Nana is in the studio. He was one of the first Ghanaians to overcome speaking about the taboo.
There are various reasons why people desire for children. As social security, as inheritance, to inherit the property, for the family name to be there, because they will inherit the family name so that the family name doesn't get lost on earth, because it's believed that if you don't have a child, eventually when you die, your name will get lost on earth. Nobody will remember you anymore. A very good reason which majority of people use for the children to serve as security for you when you are old.
Right, Nana Yawase, thank you so much for coming here.
Childlessness contributes to domestic violence. It also contributes to sexually transmitted infections, because polygamy is generally accepted by a lot of people. So men would not mind, and these days also some women would also not mind going behind their wives and then taking other women and other men outside their matrimonial home, which contributes to the spread of sexually transmitted infections, including HIV/AIDS.
In a religious country such as Ghana, being childless is often linked to superstition. Those who can't have children are punished by the gods, something that Esther is also confronted with.
Everybody sees it in Africa as God's blessing.
Yes.
So if you've been married for a while and no kids, then it means you did something bad in your past, or God is punishing you, or you see.
But often this goes one step further. It's said that infertile women have come into contact with witches, or even that they've been bewitched.
The idea about witches is so high. Once you are a woman or a couple are faced with infertility, and they go to religious leaders and they tell them that they are confronted by a witch, then you see that is the starting point. They want to tackle that witch with all the whatever they have, with all the strength that they have, the energy, their resources, go into tackling the witch. They pay huge sums of money to pastors. They buy anointing oil. They buy all sort of, concoctions and other, treatments and other forms of treatment that are given to them by these religious leaders.
Gordon, hi.
Very well.
How are you?
Very well, I'm fine.
Natalie is one of the few Western doctors dealing with infertile couples in Africa. She also trains local doctors to carry out fertility treatment. One of her first patients is Esther.
Do you do vaginal scanning, Gordon, or not?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
You are used to that, yeah? Okay. Vooral voor vrouwen is het heel belangrijk ook om zwanger geweest te zijn. Als een koppel geen kinderen kan krijgen, zal de vrouw vaak ook dus met de vinger gewezen worden dat zij de schuldige is, dat er geen kinderen zijn. En heel vaak zal de man dan proberen om ergens anders kinderen te krijgen bij andere vrouwen. Lukt dat, dan wordt die vrouw bijna zeker verstoten en dan eindigt die vrouw op haar 50 als een vrouw zonder status, zonder kinderen. Heel vaak niet alleen de familie, ook de ganse village, het ganse dorp gaat die vrouw eigenlijk negatief bekijken. Daar worden soms scheldnamen voor gebruikt voor vrouwen of koppels zonder kinderen. Dus het is echt een stigma. Maar onvruchtbaarheidsbehandelingen in de vorm van hoogtechnologische behandelingen zoals de proefbuisbaby, die zijn eigenlijk maar beschikbaar in een heel klein deeltje van de wereld. En als ze beschikbaar zijn, zoals hier in Ghana, dan zijn ze heel kostelijk. Dus dat betekent dat het voor de meeste mensen gewoon niet beschikbaar is.
The solution lies possibly here, on the other side of the world, in Genk, Belgium. These two men rolled up their sleeves and developed a method to make test tube babies for a reasonable price. And they gave this treatment a name, the walking egg.
As soon as I figured out how I was going to do it, I knew it was going to work. I mean, it's one of these things that you have, and I said, if this works, and I knew it would, then it changes everything. And it would allow women, couples who are infertile all over the world to have an opportunity that they wouldn't ordinarily have.
Hij zei, ik heb al een techniek die we nu gebruiken in de dierwereld voor koeien, die zeer eenvoudig is en die zeer goed werkt. En als dat werkt voor andere zoogdieren, werkt dat uiteraard ook voor de mens. Ondertussen zijn er meer dan 30 gezonde kinderen geboren. Maar allemaal rond in Limburg of in Nederlands Limburg, want dat was ons patiëntencliënteel. What we have in Ghana is myoma then.
Myoma is here.
The technique is now ready. Time to export it to the third world. Providing Africa with low-cost IVF treatment has encountered a great deal of opposition.
The first reaction was, I think, a typical reaction, like, you got to be kidding. I mean, you're talking about countries where you have malaria, HIV, and very high rates of death among early children, and you want to do IVF?
Ik vind natuurlijk dat je geen kinderen moet gaan maken bij een bevolking die het niet aan kan van kinderen te hebben in oorlogsgebieden. Dat is de bedoeling niet. Maar de middenklasse in zowel Zuid-Amerika als Azië als Afrika, en Kenia, Tanzania zijn daar voorbeelden van, is enorm aan het toenemen. Die middenklasse kan een redelijk bedrag betalen en dan praten we niet over $5.000, maar misschien $500. En dat bedrag hebben zij daarvoor over voor een kind. Dus wij moeten proberen om die grote massa van middenstand, van mensen van de middenklasse, als we die zelfs geen kind mogen geven, dan vraag ik me af of we bezig zijn in geneeskunde.
The first African country where the walking egg technique is to be applied is Ghana. A new clinic is being built in the country's capital, a project that Nana is also involved with.
For the sperm collection.
Oh, okay.
So this way you do the sperm collection.
I see. I can see that your room is very big.
It's big. I want to make it comfortable.
I become quite emotional and I sometimes feel like weeping, but I guess it will get to that point, when I see at least one person, getting pregnant through the Walking Egg project. I feel much so because it is the first center, not only in Africa, but in the entire world.
But even though the clinic is still being built, there's still a lot of opposition. Commercial and Western fertility clinics in particular are not keen on the Walking Egg project.
In die landen zijn IVF-centra. In Nairobi, in Kampala, in Oeganda, daar zijn IVF-centra die zeer goed werken. Dezelfde resultaten in Europa. Maar hun kostprijs is even hoog of zelfs duurder. Die vragen ook 4.000, 5.000 euro per cyclus. Dat wil zeggen in die landen dat maximum 2% van de bevolking dit aan kan. En toch zijn ze fier als ze IVF doen. Maar eigenlijk dragen ze niet bij tot een goede gezondheidszorg. Dus die mensen zien ons niet graag komen. Die lobbyen op alle mogelijkheden om ons tegen te houden.
A cold winter's day in Genk, certainly for these Ghanaians. They're being trained to apply the technique in their own country for the first time. And it all has to do with these two tubes. An oocyte is brought into one of the two tubes. Carbon dioxide gas coming from the other tube ensures that the egg can develop in an ideal acidic environment. Using this method, large and expensive machinery used in traditional laboratories is not needed.
I'm going to explain you how the whole low-cost system works. And it's very easy. The only thing you need is 2 tubes out of glass where you can look through so that you can follow the evaluation of the oocytes and the embryos. Yeah? Wel, we proberen deze low-cost situatie over te hevelen naar Afrika, omdat men daar niet in staat is om die hele dure labo's te creëren, waar er zeer veel filtersystemen nodig zijn om de juiste kwaliteit van uw lucht te kunnen creëren in uw labo. En omdat we hier in een volledig gesloten systeem kunnen werken, hebben we helemaal geen invloed meer van buitenaf. Waardoor we perfecte goede embryo's kunnen kweken in dit gesloten systeem.
The walking egg technique in particular saves on expensive laboratory costs. From now on, you only need 2 test tubes to fertilize an egg. However, not everyone is pleased with this development.
If you're doing an IVF cycle and you're charging, let's say, $15,000, and somebody comes along and says, well, you don't have to do this, we can do this for $500 with the same outcome, it's a problem. The establishment doesn't want to see this.
See the gas over there? So it works fine. Perfect.
Three months later, there's a meeting of childless couples in the National Conference Centre of Ghana. Professor Willem Ombelet is guest speaker. Today, he's opening the first walking egg clinic. And that's great news for Ghana.
And the walking egg is a metaphor of the egg who is searching to become pregnant. And it doesn't know borders, it doesn't know religions, it doesn't take care about the color of your skin, but it's a real metaphor of what we have in mind, universal or global access to infertility care.
The walking egg affordable IVF treatment in Ghana officially launched.
Who will be the proud mother or parent of the first African TWE baby?
This has not escaped the interest of the media. The next day, people stream into the waiting room. They're all women who've heard that the Belgian team wants to carry out some walking egg procedures. This is also important for local doctors. It's an opportunity for gynecologist Gordon to show what he's learnt during his training course.
Everything we learned in Belgium, today we'll put it into practice. I can't wait. The dream is finally coming true. Yes, I'm so excited. What I'm also looking anxiously for is our first baby.
If you do the transfer, then you go like this, you feel you're in the cervix and you go a bit through and not too far. And then chup. You give this to Brigitte.
Dat zit er niet gewoon uit.
Niks, hè?
Nee, niks.
Het zal niks worden, denk ik.
There were no ripe cells to be harvested from the first female patient. Fortunately, a second couple was already in the waiting room.
It was not very difficult because if you are married first year, second year, and the children are not coming, your in-laws will start to be disturbing you. When am I having my grandchild? When am I having my grandchild?
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. The pressure and the other things, I can't wait any longer.
Anna has been given hormonal stimulation over the past few weeks. Normally, she should ovulate in the coming hours. Strict timing has to be adhered to when harvesting the eggs. This is, however, contrary to African culture.
IVF is timing. IVF is zeer belangrijk dat je alles op het juiste moment doet. En dat moeten ze ook nog leren. Ze zijn daar een beetje nonchalanter in en dat is nefast als ze dat gaan doen in de toekomst.
This time the procedure is well timed. Professor Ambelet is able to perform a puncture.
Zijn er cellen te zien, Brigitte?
Ja, er zijn cellen.
Geen cellen?
Ja, ik heb het.
Again?
Ja.
We have the first egg.
Our joy will continue from there. We must at all costs hear the cry of a baby in our home.
There's an egg, but the sperm cells have to be of good quality.
You see something? You see sperms?
There's one moving.
Oei. One.
Okay.
Can nothing do with this. It's a very bad semen.
Further on, Natalie is selecting possible couples. But here too it's bad news. Most of the patients are not suitable candidates for IVF.
You currently don't have a partner?
No.
So how do you want to become pregnant without a partner?
And that's why I'm here.
De meerderheid is eigenlijk al op een leeftijd waarbij we waarschijnlijk hun niet meer kunnen helpen. En dat is een grote verrassing. Maar spijtig genoeg hebben wij aan heel veel koppels moeten zeggen, op 45, op 50 kunnen wij jullie echt niet meer helpen natuurlijk. Dus dat was een beetje was natuurlijk niet zo fijn om die boodschap te moeten geven. So you've been trying to get pregnant since 2012. And the semen, the sperm of you, that was always normal? Or was there minor issues there?
They said it was low, so I was given some injections and later they gave me some medicines to take.
Het tweede, het was het slechte zaadkwaliteit. Ons project is IVF, maar daarvoor heb je toch voldoende zaad nodig. Dus extreme mannelijke factor kunnen wij niet behandelen met ons project. En wij hebben de eerste dag hadden we geen één koppel die eigenlijk eligible was voor ons project. Door de leeftijd en of door het slechte zaad. Eén van de twee.
Willem and Brigitte are disappointed. Up until now, they were not able to bring together an egg and a sperm cell.
Het is zeer, zeer slecht. Allee, het is geen ene die...
So Brigitte makes a final attempt. She puts all the suitable sperm cells into a test tube containing a single egg.
Let's hope. I inseminate everything that I got. I put everything there in the tube. Voilà. Let's hope.
There is again a full waiting room the next day, but often filled with old women and men with poor quality sperm. These are problems that the team had not expected, matters that will have to be adjusted in the future. Willem sees the non-believers already rubbing their hands with glee.
We moeten zorgen dat we succes hebben en dan moet je mensen behandelen het best met tubofactor, dus een eileider die dicht is, die niet heel oud zijn, want anders gaat weer je kansen verminderen. En dat men hier niet zo goed begrepen, misschien dat de 3 volgende wel zijn, ik weet het niet. Maar dat is de groep waar wij het meest succes gaan halen. Dus in de hele medische wereld, zeggen de infertiliteitswereld, zitten er veel mensen te wachten op de nadelen en de problemen die we gaan hebben. Dus men kijkt met argusogen naar al wat we doen, dus daarom dat we ook zeker willen zijn van kwaliteit van mensen, kwaliteit van apparatuur en ook patiëntenselectie die zeer grondig moet gebeuren. Wij kunnen ons niet veroorloven dat wij 2-3 keer na elkaar slechte resultaten hebben, want dan wordt het programma helemaal afgeschoten door degenen die ons nu al niet graag zien komen.
The team decides to change the selection procedure. From now on, every man must have his semen analysed before even coming to the consultation.
Brigitte. Ja. Oké. En jij Alexandra Deo, hoe is dat zaad? 7,2, liquefied. Total count, niet zo goed. Je vindt het niet genoeg voor IVF?
Nee, het is maar 18%.
The last day for the Belgian team in Accra has arrived. In the end, only one suitable egg was harvested by Professor Ambelet. it's high time to see if fertilization has taken place.
En Brigitte?
Ze denuderen niet, dus dat betekent dat het sperma zijn werk niet heeft gedaan. Hè?
Mirakels gaan hier niet gebeuren. Hè. Dus dat is geen drama, het is alleen maar dat we nu de lessen moeten daaruit trekken. Ook zij, dat de selectie van die patiënten enorm belangrijk is. The selection of patients is of prime importance. This is whether you fail or you have success or not.
The mission has been completed. Even though no fertilization has taken place with the walking egg method, the team has learned a lot. At the final meeting, the team decides to continue working with this clinic in Accra. There's still much work to be done, but there's a good basis to continue with the procedure.
Ik ben heel positief eigenlijk. Als ik al zie het gebouw dat ze in een hele korte tijd hebben opgekalefaterd, dat toch min of meer in orde is, dat wil toch al iets zeggen dat er toch een enorme goodwill is. Ik heb een aantal mensen ontmoet in die paar dagen die toch eigenlijk echt wel gemotiveerd zijn om daar iets van te maken. Nu is het natuurlijk nog wachten op de eerste zwangerschap en de eerste baby, maar ik ben zeker dat die er gaat komen.
It's unfair. It really is unfair that you have people who, through no fault of their own, develop infertility and are just priced out of the market when they don't need to.
De drang om kinderen te krijgen, en dat is niet alleen bij de mensen, in de dierenwereld ook zo, is zo groot. En wat ze terugkrijgen is zo belangrijk voor hen, dat het de moeite waard is, denk ik, om voor 200 miljoen mensen per tijdseenheid te gaan vechten, om daar toch een deel van die mensen dat geluk te geven dat ze anders ontberen.
The Walking Egg team is soon to return to Ghana. The aim is that in 1 year's time, a little African will be born conceived from the walking egg method. It seems that this may well be a little Ghanaian. To be continued.